Ruto says he does not want to be president any longer than he has to. 3 people confirmed dead in the Kasarani building disaster. And a Nairobi lawyer attacks a client over a child upkeep case.
Yippee! Kamata floating at 349K. Oh yes, for only 349,000 Kenyan shillings, you become a plot owner at the Great Oasis Gardens, Nanyuki. The Great Oasis Gardens, Nanyuki is located along the Nanyuki-Rumuruti Road, only 11 minutes from the Cedar Mall and right opposite Mount Kenya Wildlife Estate. This is the best place to establish the getaway home that you have always dreamt about. For every 349,000 that you deposit or pay as installment towards any of Optivent's plot of land, you get 10K cash back instantly. Jaza basi twende Nanyuki. Bigger is indeed better.
President William Ruto has categorically made it clear he will not entertain any discussions around constitution change with a view to removing the presidential term limit. The head of state says his government is committed to the rule of law and that he will personally oppose any move to amend the constitution to serve what he called selfish interests. And as our reporter Henry Tende now reports, the head of state urged the legislators to instead focus their energy on oversight role to enhance service delivery.
At a parliamentary meeting, President William Ruto used the occasion to respond to the controversial proposal by Fafi Member of Parliament Saleh Yakub that seeks to amend the constitution to remove the presidential term limit. Yakub had indicated that he will introduce a motion on the floor of the House to replace the term limit with a retirement age cap of 75 years. This statement receiving a bashing from lawmakers on both the political divide and Kenyans at large, with concerns such a move will reverse democratic gains in the country. Likewise, the proposal has caught the eye of the head of state, who has made clear his stand on the matter.
The discussion on changing the constitution for parochial, selfish, personal matters is no space to go. I want to be very clear that as president, I will not participate in mutilating the constitution for purposes of serving selfish, personal, parochial interests.
The Commander-in-Chief reiterating his government's resolve to respect the rule of law. Ruto saying he will vehemently oppose any move to amend the constitution to serve what he terms selfish interests.
The same way we opposed BBI because it was meant to achieve selfish, parochial, personal interests. We will oppose any move to change the constitution. I will be at the front to say no to any change of the constitution, to change term limit, to change things that benefit individuals. Here, that is unnecessary, that is uncalled for, and it is an exercise in futility because it will not happen under my watch.
Acknowledging the important role played by Parliament in leadership of the country, President Ruto has urged the legislators to use their discussions in the House to oversight his government for better service delivery.
The most important aspect of a member of Parliament is to speak on all the issues, legislation, to ensure that there is oversight and to represent your people. The people who elected you.
Today's meeting also discussed proposed names to take up roles in the East Africa Legislative Assembly, EALA. The Kenya Kwanza wing has approved 5 names as its representatives in the assembly. These 5 include Hassan Omar Hassan, who lost Mombasa gubernatorial race, Fred Muteti, Zipporah Kering, David Sankok, and Falhada Deko. Henry Tende, Lookuptv.
That was very quick, and those are very choice words coming from the president. The matter is not even at debate level yet, but he was quick to choose the words to respond to it. It makes you wonder what that story is about. We'll keep watching. Well, elsewhere, at least 3 people, including a vendor, have been confirmed dead at the Kasarani building collapse. Appearing at the scene in Nairobi, the governor, Johnson Sakaja, promised to take action against the rogue developer. And according to the Land and Housing Cabinet Secretary, Zachariah Njeru, who was also at the scene, the developer had already been warned not to proceed with the construction.
These were the sceneries at Seasons areas in Kasarani, Nairobi. Rescue operation continued for the second day as rescuers combed through the rubble with undying hope to retrieve more people. Appearing at the scene, Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja directed the police to arrest the building owner, who is still at large.
First of all, the developer must be charged in court. In fact, Waziri, we will ask the police, the DCI, to find that developer. Who knows he should not be building a building in this way. The standards of materials are wrong. He did not get any permit from the county. There was an enforcement notice. But because of impunity, decided to go on. He needs to be charged with murder, because that is murder.
Cabinet Secretary for Land and Housing, Zachariah Njeru, stated that despite National Construction Authority stopping the construction of the collapsed building, the developer went ahead objecting to the orders.
Pia the National Construction Authority walikuwa hapa jana na wakaisimamisha asubuhi, na hiyo ilikuwa mara ya 10 kuisimamisha, lakini kwa sababu ambayo haieleweki, hata baada ya jumba lenyewe kusimamishwa linaendelea.
Sakaja stated that he will end corruption and impunity in Nairobi County for what he said has been hailing the construction sector in the city.
This is caused by corruption and impunity. We pass our condolences and our sympathies, and we'll find a way to support those families. But this must be an example, because I know there are many such buildings, many such constructions that are going on in Nairobi that have been happening. This building had an enforcement notice starting from last year.
The joint operation saw 6 people saved from the building, as 3 people, including a vendor, died.
Some have been treated and discharged from hospital. Some are admitted at Kenyatta National Hospital.
By the time of filing this report, about 4 more people were still trapped under the rocks.
Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja and the Land and Housing CS have said that they are going to ensure that such occasion does not occur again in Nairobi County and any other part of the country. Reporting for Lookuptv from Kasarani, Nairobi County, my name is Shadrach Kareria.
Let's go back to his comfort zone, an area that accelerated his road to power. President William Ruto has today indicated that the Hustler Fund is ready to be rolled out starting this month, with the beneficiaries set to pay an 8% interest per annum. This is after all legal frameworks were approved by Cabinet yesterday at State House.
Smiles for hustlers in the country after President William Ruto today indicated that all is set for the disbursement of the funds, with the first beneficiaries set to receive the funds starting on the 30th of this month.
The first product is to deal with the individual finance or the individual borrowing. The next one will be for groups, chamas, and other groups. The third one will be for small enterprises that require additional more money, and then for cooperatives. So the first one we are launching on the 30th, which will be to take care of the small guys who are borrowing and who today are harassed by Fuliza and all the other products.
However, Like they say, everything comes at a cost. According to President William Ruto, the beneficiaries of the fund are set to pay an interest of 8% per annum.
We have said this product is going to be available at 8% per year. The current Fuliza is at 1% per day. So it is 365% per year. So we are coming from 365% per year to 8%.
Furthermore, anybody who will qualify for the fund will have to save a mandatory amount in accordance to the amount of the loan received.
We have made it mandatory that as you borrow, there is a saving component. If you borrow 1,000 shillings, 50 shillings mandatory goes to your saving. And we estimate, our estimation from the technocrats is that we should be able to save about 30 billion shillings every year on that platform.
The head of state also indicated that the funds will be available online with no paperwork required, taking a swipe on leaders who had planned for disbursement of the said funds.
The product is going to be seamless. You will not go to you will not need any paperwork. You will not need any committee. You do not need to know anybody. The product will be online, just like M-Pesa. I know many members here who are already arranging to form committees on how to disburse the Hustler Fund. I have seen messages on my phone. So, Mheshimiwa, tuko tayari kabisa, tumepanga committee.
Ian Keitani, Lookuptv.
The president has done his math. Now you know what to do to access this fund. This doesn't happen every day, but it happened in a court of law after a lawyer assaulted a businessman whose wife he was representing in a child upkeep case between the estranged couple in a matter before court.
Scenery and corridors of justice are well accustomed to all manner of verbal wars, drama, and even tears flooding the courtroom. But they were treated to an exchange of blows hardly witnessed within the civilized, poised, and proper premises of the law courts. The lawyer, Robert Asembo, assaulted the husband of his client whom he is representing in a child upkeep case, where the wife is said to be demanding 600,000 as upkeep from the businessman. Following the drama, Magistrate Mbogo adjourned the hearing of the matter to a later date. Pris Kanjeri, Lookuptv.
Let's take a break on that note. We'll be back with more news in a short bit.
Good to have you join us on Heart to Heart.
We bring you stories of people who, despite the pressures they experienced, still trusted God to see them through.
The seeds that was sown in me helped me navigate and overcome that period of my life.
New testimonies, new insights, and even better revelation of the good things God has in store for us.
There is always a blessing waiting for someone in every episode.
Yippee! Kamata plotting at 349K. Oh yes, for only 349,000 Kenyan shillings, you become a plot owner at the Great Oasis Gardens, Nanyuki. The Great Oasis Gardens, Nanyuki is located along the Nanyuki-Rumuruti Road, only 11 minutes from the Cedar Mall and right opposite Mount Kenya Wildlife Estate. This is the best place to establish the getaway home that you have always dreamt about. For every 349,000 that you deposit or pay as installment towards any of Optivent's plot of land, you get 10K cash back instantly. Jaza basi twende na nyuki. Bigger is indeed better.
Vera Beauty and Fashion College is focused on being the leading technical and vocational training institute in the region. Our team possesses in-depth knowledge and extensive experience in the industry, offering thorough training in cosmetology, hairdressing, interior design, creative arts, training of trainers, nail technology, and fashion design. With branches in Nairobi, Thika, Meru, Eldoret, and now in Mombasa, our courses ensure that learners are completely equipped with knowledge, competency, and employability skills. Enroll today to be a part of a center of excellence.
Rift Valley Institute of Science and Technology, in partnership with the Edgerton University, are currently working on an innovation designed to preserve agricultural produce that will reduce the post-harvest losses of small-scale farmers and traders and help address loss of produce during seasons of abundance.
The innovation conserves both cereals and horticulture produce after harvesting for future consumption or for marketing during periods of high demand, hence fetching better prices. Using the technology, the produce in excess are dried without changing its pigmentation and taste. Some are added value by grinding into flour and packaged for future use. The invention is the brainchild of Vegetable Dryer in partnership with Textlaws Limited.
There is a lot of wastage that takes place in the field of post-harvest, but this is a solution. We intend to use the same in collaboration with Texas and dry our vegetables during the peak period so that we can sell them when the supply is low. And by so doing, we are going to maintain good prices for the vegetables, and we are going to liaise with the farmers.
2.
Elsewhere, innovative performance marketing agency Idea Hive has made its inaugural launch in the East African market in a bid to provide data-driven technology to create unique, insightful, brand strategic and marketing campaigns for clients.
And the potential partners for the future.
The marketing firm's plans for expansion into the region are ongoing as it strives to be one of the leading go-to agencies for customer experience, insights and content development in South Africa and throughout Africa.
Any marketing solution led by data and insights is trackable, it's measurable. So they should be able and will be able to see where their money goes, the audience that they're targeting, who are they, what are their preferences, where they spend their money, and things like that. So when you package your content and deploy, you're not just shooting in the dark. But in this case, it's quite niche, it's quite targeted, and you know who exactly the audience your products will be going to.
American tech mogul Bill Gates in the country on a philanthropic visit under the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation that is aiding the continent in various projects in health, agriculture, education, food security and climate change. This comes a few days after the Microsoft founder announced a 170 billion shillings donation to mitigate climate change. Gates is expected to hold a series of public engagements and meet government officials and other stakeholders in the private sector. Edwin John Mukora, Look Up Business.
way after the fact, way after the event, and long since citizen number one has taken charge and is doing his thing, it has now occurred to the European Union to applaud us for our performance in the just concluded general elections, despite the split we saw in the IEBC, with senior officials being complimented and others being criticized. This is their story.
The European Union has given its feedback in the just concluded August general election. Senior EU officials have stated that the elections were carried out in tandem to the expectations and asked the government to embrace technology in voting in the upcoming days.
You have mentioned that they were largely peaceful. There was an absence of physical conflict. And I think also being a woman myself and women's participation in elections is a big priority for the EU around the world, just as participation of youth and people with disabilities is something we generally promote. We also noticed this absence of physical violence targeting women and an absence of SGBV, which we were extremely pleased to note. But in the online space, there was a lot of harassment and verbal.
These emerged during the third National Legal Aid Conference on Access to Justice, organized by UNDP and Egerton University, where Line Urban, the manager of the program, has called on stakeholders to address the issues of social media bullying, education levels and mental status of candidates for the elections, terming the current standards as too high.
In space, there was a lot of harassment and verbal insults and strong language used, both among different candidates, but a lot of it was really targeting female candidates and their supporters.
Ugenya legislator David Otieno voiced his concern regarding executive meddling and the introduction of dubious measures throughout every election year. However, the lawmaker pointed out that the nation had advanced significantly in the democratic realm.
On that front, we moved very far. I only have two quarrels with it, which I would want to put to you. Fear of corruption creeping back, especially on election matters, is there. There are a lot of fears about corruption playing a role, and this sometimes is very open gossip.
Otieno has also raised concerns that corruption was still making its way into the halls of justice and pointed an accusing finger at the judiciary. However, in his defense, Justice Hilary Chemitei said that the judiciary was impartial, adding that accessibility to justice was better compared to years back.
Said we are an open book. The issue of integrity is not so much really a worry to us, because basically we are within the laws, we are following the laws, we understand the issue of ethics, we have our ethics we follow. If, for instance, there is one or two, then I think those are isolated cases. But as far as the judiciary is concerned, I can confidently say that we are working within the rule, within the books, within the ethics, and within the parameters.
Professor Richard Mulwa, the Deputy Vice-Chancellor at Egerton University, observed that the country's democratic environment has advanced as seen during the elections. According to him, the country has advanced in its democratic practices because there was no violence seen before, during, or after the elections, and the transition was painless. Charity Kagwe from UNDP also spoke, noting that the organization's Legal Aid and Access to Justice program had benefited hundreds of people and has expressed gratitude for how Kenyans behaved during the campaign.
Molo Line Services Limited and the National Safety Authority has launched a free medical checkup for all drivers and passengers as a measure to reduce the number of accidents we witness during the festive season. Christmas is coming up. The free will mainly focus on testing illnesses such as diabetes, blood pressure, abdomen weight, and eyesight.
Speaking at Nakuru Molo Line offices in Milimani, Molo Line chairman Njoroge Karaoke
say that they have partnered with doctors from Nakuru County Health Department to bring free medical services to the people.
Wakati huu tuko na hafla hii ya clinic ya kujulia hali ya afya ya madereva wetu, na sio tu madereva wetu, hata customer wetu anakuja na pimwa, hata dereva mwingine kutoka nje tukatasi ya apimwe, kwa sababu tunataka kuweka umuhimu wa usalama barabarani.
According to Njoroge, the exercise, which will mainly be testing on diabetes, blood pressure, eyesight and other diseases, will not only target monoline drivers and their customers, but also any other willing drivers not working with the company.
Part of what we are doing is ensuring that there are eye clinics here and they are being checked. Number two is the issues of high blood pressure, making sure that the pressure is okay. And number three is about the sugar levels, the diabetes, and ensuring that in terms of health they are okay. And this is to ensure that we reduce the accidents.
Meanwhile, the national government administrative officers in Embura Division, Embu County, have destroyed and burned several structures that have been allegedly used to hide drugs and stolen goods. This follows after the police received several complaints on drug trafficking and increased theft cases in the area.
Ningependa kusema ya kwamba leo tumezibomoa vibanda 3 katika hii soko ya Karingari. Tulipata malalamishi mengi sana kwa wananchi wetu wa hapa, wakisema ya kwamba kuna watu wanauza bangi katika hizi vibanda, wanazitumia hizi vibanda kama pia mahali ya kuweka vitu ya wizi, na ndio maana tumejitolea ofisi ya Assistant County Commissioner Nembure pamoja na chiefs wa Gaturi South, all of them are with me here. Tukasema tubomoe, na tukaweza kuzibomoa na tukazichoma zile mabaki ambazo tumezipata hapo zote.
Mitaruan, Lookuptv.
Microsoft has signed a partnership with the International Finance Corporation in a deal that will see the two organizations support the use of technology in Africa's agricultural sector. The deal is a result of the just concluded COP27 in 2022, with this seen as an action point in using technology to mitigate climate change.
Partnerships aim to deliver digital agriculture products that will be instrumental in supporting African agribusinesses with the wider aims of strengthening food security and developing greater resilience against climate change. Through their partnerships, digital tools such as Microsoft AgBot and community training applications will be integrated with IFC's Agribusiness Leadership Program to release the synergy in operations. Microsoft will oversee the delivery of the project through its Africa Transformation Office, ATO. This coming at a time when the continent has emerged as the most affected by food crises, according to 63% of population in need of help by the end of last year as a result of food insecurity, with experts predicting the situation to get worse. With acute food insecurity now affecting more than 155 million people across the 55 countries in the continent, the project hopes it will be part of the long-term solution to this pandemic problem that has sent developing economies to the drawing board, Kenya included, as it struggles with the current drought crisis. For Lookup Business, Sandrine Mwenda.
In the day's sport, Cabinet Minister Ababu Namwamba is making his presence felt. As Cabinet Secretary, he today issued directives to different